Welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, I collect video games and tell you about the games I believe you should be getting. If that sounds fun to you, subscribe, hit that bell notification so you never miss a beat, and on to the video.
People tell me my head's in the clouds. I don't care what they say because I'm dreaming of you. You are the treasure I found. So bright, so bold, yet so elusive. It's hard to look away, even though it's blinding me. There are no words to describe how I feel.
Alright, today I'm going to be sharing my review on Luigi's Mansion 3 for the Nintendo Switch. Now the game starts off with you getting an invitation to this luxury hotel, and the owner of this hotel is named Helen Gravely, and she ends up getting you guys to your rooms with Mario, Peach, and the three Toads. And then as soon as you fall asleep, you wake up to Peach screaming, and everything seems to be going a little spooky. Well, you find out that Helen Gravely is a ghost, and she has trapped Egad, which you find out a little bit later, but she has released King Boo, and has trapped all your friends in paint, or little pictures, like picture frames, which you will see in the gameplay down below. And then, so it is your job to save everyone while going through all of these haunted floors. Well, along the way, you find Egad, which you find out that he was trapped in a painting, and then all the ghosts that you had collected had been stolen from him because he thought he was going to a ghost convention. So he brought all of his collection with him, and of course, since King Boo was in that collection, all of the boos and all the funky ghosts that Luigi had ever managed to capture had been set free, and are now roaming and creating a muck in the mansion. Well, you get a few new tools in this Luigi's Mansion. You get the new suction, which kind of looks like a little plunger with a rope on it, and you can use it to smash suitcases, trash cans, suits of armor. And then you also have your normal finding the hidden boos, and then you also get the fun aspect, or at least in my opinion, it's a fun aspect, and that is the gem collecting. And then what's nice about this gem collecting is that each floor has like specific types of gems. There's a level where you are basically going to like a music area where it's got a stage and a bunch of music instruments. Well, on that level you get music gems, where there's also another one where it's like a castle theme, which you'll also see in the gameplay. But they're swords, which I thought was pretty cool. So I mean, if you're like a little extra collector and you want to find all those hidden things, whether they be finding all the boos or finding all the gems, that it's in there, and it's great. But another thing that you also get to combating all of these spooks and frights is a new mechanic called Luigi, which Egad had lovingly crafted for you. Now, Luigi, he doesn't have as much health as your character, Luigi, but he can do things Luigi can't. He can go through bars, he can get to places that that Luigi himself can't get, and then the downside to it is if he gets touched by any source of water, he melts, because of course he's only goo. But there are also intricate puzzles that you get to use both the characters, which you'll see just a little bit of that with they're the spades that you have to suction up on each side. But you'll see that down there, which I thought was pretty unique, because there's a lot of those puzzles that require both you and Luigi. And of course, once you unlock Luigi, it also opens up the gameplay to co-op for the main story, which is new for Luigi's Mansion. And then another thing, apart from the Luigi, that you can also, a new gameplay mechanic that they brought in, was that now you can hit both your top triggers, these two buttons right here, and he's able to do like a little jump. And there's also for like the music area, when you're going down the hallway, there is a carpet that keeps going up and up, and the only way to do that or get past that part is you have to jump as the carpet's going by, and then, which I thought was pretty unique because not very many. Well, I there was a couple puzzles that I've hit so far, but that required you to actually use that, which I thought was pretty unique. And then there's also some enemies that have sunglasses that you're able to use that for to knock the sunglasses off, which I thought was pretty cool. But the thing I enjoyed most about this one was that the bosses were unique again. Most of the ghosts that were typically bland, they gave it a little bit more extra character. Like your regular little blue ghosts in like the first rip suite you get or you go to get Luigi from a maid, which is one of the first bosses that you have to fight, is they're all dressed like little maids, and then of course in the music area they're dressed kind of like musician theme type deal, which I thought was pretty cool. And then there are also 3 mini games that I did not mention. There's a coin collecting one where you're in a pool and you're on these little swan floaties, and you have to basically avoid the bombs and use your vacuum to push and pull yourself to collect these coins. There is a Ferris wheel medieval one where you have to shoot cannons while also fending off ghosts. And then of course there's the typical excuse me, capture the ghost. You have different teams and you have to capture the ghost, and whoever gets more ghosts wins, which I thought was pretty cool. And then along the lines of when you get EGAD and you set up his little lab, you're able to purchase a couple items. There isn't very many, but the few items that they do give you are somewhat useful for all the money that you will accumulate. But so far, I've run out, but I've also heard a lot of things where by the time they finish this game, which a couple people that I know have finished it in about 10 hours, but if you add in the multiplayer aspect of it and the scare scraper, you could easily make this like a 15 to 18 hour game if you have plenty of people. And of course, since I have my kids, this game, it's going to be worth the $60 I paid for it, hands down, easily. Because I'm going to keep playing and playing and playing, and then once I beat the game, I'm going to help my kids beat the game because you can play the story in co-op, which is awesome. I love that aspect of it. But in the end, visually, it was phenomenal. Just the way they transitioned everything when it went from the Golden Mansion to what they saw and thought was a luxury hotel all the way into the spooky version of the mansion. It was pretty cool, pretty breathtaking when I first got that far into the game, which is fairly early on in the game, but it's still pretty neat how they have that transition did and whatnot. So if you're thinking about picking up this game, even if it's just for yourself or if you have a bunch of friends, because the multiplayer you can go up to, I believe, 8 players. I mean, I don't have 8 controllers or 8 friends to bring around and play, but I do have my daughter and my son that love these games, and every single time my son comes home from school, he's always wanting to play this game. He's like, "Dad, can we play some Luigi Mansion? I want to be Luigi." And it hits right here because this game is amazing. And if you haven't picked it up yet and you have a Nintendo Switch, I highly recommend that you go and get it. And then some of the items that you can get from EGAD's laboratory once you get it far enough is there is a boo finder, there is a gem finder, which basically gives you random spots where you can find gems in different rooms, and then there is also a bone, which you can get a couple of, and the bones basically are like they revive you where you died at. And then what I enjoyed about this game is that each floor that you get, and the way you progress through the game is once you beat a floor and you defeat the boss, they shoot out these elevator buttons, and of course they're randomized, which was kind of funky, but all in all, the way they did it, it's pretty good. I mean, I haven't finished the game completely yet, but I'm about halfway through it, and I'm enjoying it, every minute of it. But you get different floors, and of course on each floor there's a different theme. There is like the first floor you go to is the Rip Suite, which is basically just kind of like a regular hotel type floor. And then you can go to a medieval one, and of course each floor has its own unique boss. So for instance, I don't want to ruin too many of the bosses, but like I said, the Rip Suite where it just looked like a regular suite, there was a maid for a boss. There's also on the second floor, or not the second floor, but there is a castle area, which the boss is a king. And then of course I talked about the music level. That one had a musician, which used the piano to basically try to kill you. But all in all, I love the variety of the game. Well, the gameplay and the visuals and the uniqueness of each boss. On top of them putting that little extra detail on just the regular ghost you would come across, whether you're just going through each level, which I thought was fantastic. So if you don't own the game yet, like I said, I highly recommend you pick it up. I would have to give Luigi's Mansion 3 a 8.5 out of 10. Now if you made it to the end of this video, I thank you, and you all have a great rest of your day.